Are you wondering what apps and systems to use to coach online? In part 3 of our series, How to Start Your Nutrition Coaching Business, we will talk about what tech you actually need to start coaching online today. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin. Many nutrition coaches struggle with feeling confident, even outside starting nutrition coaching. So on my channel, I help them gain the confidence to transform the health and lives of others, allowing them to build a successful nutrition coaching business. One of the most common questions that I get is, Robin, what apps do you recommend? And it's completely normal to feel overwhelmed when you try to decide what apps genuinely improve your coaching and what apps are just a drain of your money. Because the app developers certainly won't tell you, and you don't really have the experience to make the decision. So you end up in this analysis paralysis. There are so many options, and even if you decide that you need a payment processor, for example, there are so many options that it feels again overwhelming to choose. Because especially with something like a payment processor, you don't want to make any mistakes. So here's my list of tools to start nutrition coaching so you feel confident you made the right decision. The scheduling tool. Make it easy and professional to book a call. Think about the flow of a conversation. You're probably in the DM with someone who maybe commented on your post, and you're back and forth, you explore their goals, what they want, and they're finally ready to go on a discovery call with you. But without a scheduling tool, it's very clunky and frustrating to make time. You have to ask, do you have time then? And then what about this? And the last thing that you want a potential client to feel is, oh, it's really a lot of work to get to know this coach. So one of the great apps you can use to overcome this is Calendly. It's because, particularly for new coaches, it's really helpful. They have a free plan. And I recommend that you use the appointment type, the one appointment type that you have for your free discovery calls. And once you have paying clients, you can upgrade Calendly to have more appointment types. And that means they can go for your coaching calls. And Calendly makes it super easy. You can share the link. It looks professional. It looks smooth. The sign-up process is super easy, and it takes 30 minutes or less to set it up. So I highly recommend doing it, and the link is in the description below. The second set of tools is a system for your communication, and it's both written and video, because you have to communicate with your client. May it be discovery calls, answering questions, having coaching calls, giving insights, or just to keep checking in with them. So you need video calls. And for new coaches, I recommend you do video calls once per week, so you have a lot of touch points with your client, so you can always redirect them if something goes south. And Zoom and Google Hangout are super easy and free options. Personally, I prefer Zoom because it looks and feels a little bit more professional. For emails, setting up a free business email address with Google Business, for example, just gives another sign of your professionalism. And that is especially important when you're starting out because you want to show up as a professional. And then for text messages, you can use WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. They are all great tools for short, informal communication, for answering questions. And depending on your niche, you might even use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger for video calls, because a younger generation is super used to having video calls through Facebook. So it's not really a sign of you're not professional. It's more like you're going with the flow and you're actually doing what they're doing. So these are not hard rules, but some guidelines that I would recommend. And since you're setting up your systems, I highly recommend that you start to block your time when you respond. It's so important because you can spend all day messaging back and forth with your client and not getting anything really important for your business done. And it also creates the expectation that you will always respond quickly. And if you don't, the client gets upset. So I prefer one block in the morning getting through all the messages and one block in the evening getting through all the messages. Setting up your client communication systems takes 30 minutes or less. Now for the payment processor. You need some way to collect money from your clients. And I again suggest don't overthink it. PayPal is simple, intuitive, reliable, and most important, people already use it all the time. They trust PayPal. You don't have any upfront costs, and it only costs you a little bit of money when the client actually pays you. And I want to highlight this again. Everyone recognizes PayPal and trusts it, and that's the most important thing. And it also comes with all the features like invoicing, reoccurring payments, subscription. It's really easy to set up monthly payments or maybe program payments. You can send the invoice via email or send them the link, and setting up PayPal takes roughly 30 to 90 minutes depending on how many options you use and how far you set up the system. So use PayPal as a payment processor. People will trust it. The fourth tool that I recommend is a system to organize your client and business files. So your filing system has to keep track of your personal notes about measurement and progress and client notes. You need a way to share important files like assessments, and you need a way to collect data from your client, maybe from check-ins or screenshots of their meals. And Google Drive is a very all-round solution to do all of that. Dropbox works and Microsoft OneDrive works as well. I personally use Google Drive, and I set up one folder for each client, and this folder has their info tracker and their check-in and the invoices and the intake questionnaire. So one file for one client with all their important information. And then in this folder, I have another folder where I can use to share information with the client. So they can just upload pictures from their habit tracker, or I can share important assessments all in this one folder. So I have the big folder and a smaller folder in it to share important information. And if you want the client info tracker or a way to electronic check-ins, make sure that you watch until the end where I talk more about this. The final tool or system that I recommend is a coaching agreement. The coaching agreement sets the tone of the coaching relationship. So it clarifies what you expect from them and what they can expect from you. So everyone knows what is their roles and what is their responsibilities. And here's a list of things that I recommend that you cover in your coaching agreement. So what's the purpose and the goal of your coaching? Make it very clear. Talk about the payment, how and when you expect the payment. Do you offer payment plan, and so on and so on. Talk about rescheduling and cancellation policies. So when do they actually have to pay for their session if they cancel too late? Then talk about confidentiality and data protection, so it protects you and your client's privacy. Then explain the coaching process. And that means where and how does the coaching take place? Are you making sure that they know it's going to be on Zoom and it's going to be online? Talk about the time frame and how you handle support and interaction. So clarify the frequency of your reach outs. You can always go above and beyond that, of course, but make sure that you clarify what they can expect. And that includes what information and methods you're going to use, what techniques or methods you're going to apply with them. I also recommend that you add something like a success disclaimer, so you make sure that they know it's their responsibility to implement the advice. It's not it's your recommendation to give great advice, but they have to actually implement it. And that gives the client the responsibility that they are accountable. They have to act upon your coaching. Make this very clear to avoid any discussions why they don't get any results. Then I would add some final notes, a disclaimer that coaching is not therapy, cancellation policies if they want to opt out of your coaching, and how your refund policy works. If this is for all very much and your brain is melting, how you can actually write something like this, stay on this for a couple more minutes and we'll talk about this more. So in summary, 5 tools and systems that I recommend you use when you start nutrition coaching. Use a scheduling app. Make it super easy and professional when you set up an appointment with a client. Payment processor. PayPal is recognized widely and clients will trust it. Communication systems, video and written text messages. You can go with the flow with your niche. If they are focusing more on text messages, you can use their video call option as well, or you look a little bit more professional using something like Zoom. File system, keep your head and your environment organized. Know where you save important information, and the coaching agreement sets the tone, makes sure everyone knows what is their role and their responsibilities, so there's no confusion about unmet expectations. But even with everything laid out like this, you know there's more to do, and you know you have to set up your package and you have to provide a clear structure so clients actually thrive in your coaching. And there are sales conversations and structuring sessions and so on and so on. When you're thinking about all the things that you have to learn, it can feel scary. And building a business is an anxiety-inducing process and feels overwhelming often. Just the thought of researching all these topics can be a completely nightmare, of making all the effort, all the energy, watching all these videos and then not actually being really sure if you're doing it right. That's why I want to invite you to check out my free course, Sell Your First Coaching Package. It gives you a clear idea of what to do. It stops the procrastination and it builds your confidence because you actually move forward with your business. And this free course is not just a tiny snack. It's not a PDF that you download with a couple of tips. It's a complete process that walks you through selling your first package, creating your first package, charging for your first package, having the DMs to set up a discovery call, coaching calls, and also how to deal with difficult clients. And when you go through this process, you will stop wasting your time with doing all the things. Your efforts will finally pay off because you know you're focusing on what matters the most and what actually moves your business forward. With the clarity that you have, you will take action, knowing exactly what to charge and what to include in your package. So you understand that you are creating an outstanding experience for your clients, so they will stay with you and they will refer more people to you. If that sounds interesting, check out the link in the description below. So what do you think about my list? Did I miss anything important? And also, do you have any questions about starting nutrition coaching? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing so you see more videos like this. And you will see part 4 of this series where we will talk about actually getting the clients. And if you want to connect with me personally, you can reach out on Instagram and the link is in the description below.